headed out, and it's probably the last time I'm going to get to play poker for a little while because coronavirus is trying to ruin my life. But I will be ready. I'm all in, motherfuckers! What's up, you guys? In all seriousness, this coronavirus thing, it is serious, and people are taking the right precautions. We canceled our meetup game at Lucky Chances. A lot of the big tournament series are being canceled. I mean, they're shutting down so many things, and I think as much as it is very inconvenient, it is the right decision to make. But I am taking precautions. This is probably my last game I'm going to play for a little while with people. So I'm about to put my mask on. I'm going to take it off to eat. How am I going to drink wine? I don't know. But I will be keeping tabs on what runs off today because your girl gotta run it up. Today we're playing a 5-5 no limit hold'em. I'm on the button, making a $10 button straddle. Look down at King Jack of Spades. There are already 4 limpers into this pot, so I decide I'm gonna pop it up, make it 20 more to go. Under the gun, player makes the call. Total, I get 4 callers. Flop comes out 7, Queen, 8. He checks and says, I'm gonna check to Leopard Girl. Checks all the way through to me. Hey, I'm gonna check too. Turn is a 5 of diamonds, which puts 3 to a straight out there and a flush draw out there. Again, we check it all the way through. River is a jack of clubs, and as he shuffles his chips, I tell him, I'm gonna call it whenever he's back. And then he says,
your queen is good.
And then I say, my jack is good. Ha! Take that. I know. Boom, Bobby, boom. See, I don't always raise. Sometimes I know how to play friendly. I'm in the big blind with 3-4 spades and decide to just check it. And then we go 5 ways to the flop. And that's what happens when you just check. You go 5 ways. Although in this game, that was happening even with my raises. But anyway, besides the point. Flop is deuce 5-5. Open it in straight flush draw. Hey, not bad. I lead out for $25. Somehow, while the dealer's shuffling her card, she accidentally moves the 5 of hearts out of the view. And there's a big commotion about, nope, that was a 5. That was a 5. That was a 5. Someone else says, that wasn't a 5. Someone else says, yes, it was a 5. And I'm like, yeah, I have it on camera. It was a 5. We put the 5 back and I get 3 callers. We go to the turn, which is another 5. Checks all the way through because nobody wants any parts with that. And the river is a queen. And I decide, you know what? Let me stick my hand in the cookie jar and I make it 50. And middle position player slaps my hand from the cookie jar, raising it up to 200. And I'm like, you can just have it. Well, he sure did earn it. And that's why he knew that that was a 5. I'm on the button with queen 10 of diamonds. Middle position player makes it 35. I call, of course, we go 4 ways to a flop, which is 8-5 queen with 2 clubs. And it checks to me, and I decide to check it through too because I have been working on disguising the strength of my hands. I've been checking through my strong hands and my weak hands. Turn is the 3 of diamonds and checks to me. I make it 75 and get 1 caller. River is another 3. And I decide to make it 150 and get check raised to 625. And this guy is new to me. I've only played with him one time. It was a while ago, and I don't really remember him getting out of line very much. And today he's been pretty chill. I did see him show 1 bluff, but all in all, he's been showing down with some pretty good holdings. And we have not tangled today, but now we are doing the dance. I go into the massive, massive tank. I'm like, what does he have? Does he have some crazy hand with a 3-4? Or did he miss his open-ended with something like 6-7 and now he's just trying to bluff and take it away from me? And I don't know this guy enough to know if he's capable of doing all that for his entire stack. For me to call, it's another 475, which after he makes his all in and we determine that it's another 475, he does get a little fidgety and start telling me how much more it's going to cost for me. And I thought that was so fishy, and my instinct said, insta call. You need to call this fool with your top weak ass pair. And over some time and deliberation, I probably sitting on right about 1,500 right at this point, and I just take my serious time. I'm like, oh, sorry guys, time. I just need time. I should have followed my gut. I ended up folding, and he shows me the stone cold nothing. I mean, I guess he did have ace 8, so he had a pair of 8s, but I should have definitely called. That's what happens when you don't follow your gut. But at the end of the day, I would rather make a bad fold than make a bad call. I live to fight another day. I'm okay with it. But damn, nice bluff. Now I'm in the big blind, look down at ace jack off, and of course you know what I'm about to do. Raise it up to 30, get 4 callers, flop, ace, jack, 3, all clubs. So I got top 2. But it's not all good news. When I bet the flop 75, hijack calls, button min raises to 150. Now, that smells fishy. Obviously, fishy, flushy, whatever you want to call it. It's a min raise. I got 4 outs and I decide to make the call. Turn does nothing. 8 of spades. So I check. Then the hijack open jams for 400, then the button snap jams for 555, and I go into the tank. It's obvious I'm way behind, but could I catch up? Knowing both of these players, they are pretty solid. They're not doing this with meager holding. So at the end of the day, I decide to make the fold. The river also does nothing to help your girl. Hijack had a set of 3s, and the button, what do you think? The nuts, nut flush. Whoa, good fold, Q. Okay, so here's a fun one. By the time I get to the video on my camera, we've already had a lot of action, but let me catch you up. I'm under the gun with ace queen off, pop it up to 35, get 2 callers, then middle position player raises to $80, folds around to me. I call the $80 and 2 players behind me call, so we go 4 ways to the flop, which is 9, jack, 10. I check. The player right after me decides to lead out for 125. The player after him calls. The original raiser calls. And I can't just call this. I'm open-ended. I've also got a backdoor, and I'm not about to let someone realize their equity because I was playing like a punk. So I jam for 555. Player who decided to lead out ends up calling and looks at me and says, I flopped the nut straight. Can you beat that? And I'm like, oh, snap, in my mind. At least I got outs. The player after him ends up calling as well, and the original raiser ends up folding. So we go 3 ways to run this out because there are 2 players all in. The turn, voila. No hearts run out, and I'm actually a little bit mesmerized when I flip over my ace queen for my straight, and everyone's slow to turn their hands over. The last player mucks their hand, and the guy who told me he had a straight shows King 7 of hearts. Whoa! So in this hand, I'm in the cutoff with kings, and middle position player has popped it up to 25. I go ahead and 3-bet, of course, to 85. We go heads up to the flop, which is king 3 deuce, all diamonds. Obviously, I don't have a diamond because I got a set of kings. He leads out with a down bet for 75, and I decide to pop it up to 200 here because one, I can't just call and see another diamond. I need to know what's in his hand and how good it looks. And he quickly folds and later tells me that he had aces. Whoa. I didn't get all this pre-flop action on video, but there was a lot going on pre-flop. I flop trips and turn quads, and someone bets into me for 250 on the river. I end up min raising and getting called, which was beautiful. So I scoop a super duper scooper. Well, you know, for the last poker game in the coronavirus times that we're living in, that was not half bad. I was in for K, 1,000, out for 2K, 2,000. And I had some ebbs and flows, a lot of swings, but
all in all, I am glad about the way I played. I had a couple moments that I regretted for lots of reasons. At the end of the day, though, I feel really good about it, and I really do hope that everyone is taking the precautions that they need to take out there so that we can get back to the world that we are used to living in, because it's hard playing poker in gloves and it almost felt a little silly, so I ended up taking my gloves off. I wash my hands a lot anyway, and I try not to touch my face, but at the end of the day, everyone's just being precautious, and that's smart. We're gonna do what we need to do so that we keep the ones we love safe and we keep ourselves safe so we can get back to the world. So I'm ready. Thank you guys for being here. Thumbs up, thumbs down, comment, share it, love it.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram at P's and Q's Poker. See you next time.